Hey guys, if you are new, welcome. I upload every Tuesday and Friday. Please remember to ding that bell, that way you are notified for my future videos. Today I am going to be showing you how I make a turkey kale soup. It's one of our absolute favorites because it has a ton of protein, a ton of veggies. It's really light but also like a hearty soup, so you actually feel full when you're done, but not like too full. This soup can also be modified to be a vegetarian or vegan dish, and that is because you would literally just replace the chicken broth with vegetable broth and not include the ground turkey. This recipe I originally found from Sam Sherman, who is another beauty YouTuber here on YouTube, obviously, but I have modified the recipe a little bit just to add some extra stuff. So if you are interested in finding out how I make this turkey kale soup, then just keep watching. Let's go over everything you're going to need. You are going to need ground turkey unless you don't want it to be a meat-based soup. If you don't want it to be meat-based, then I would say add more of kidney beans or garbanzo beans, kind of depending on which texture you like more. Then you're going to get kale, chopped kale in a bag, and this is because this is going to make this recipe so much easier and faster to make. So you're just going to take chopped kale. You are also going to need 14.5 ounce can of diced and no salt added tomatoes. And then, like I said, garbanzo beans. Another name for garbanzo beans are chickpeas. So you could get chickpeas, garbanzo beans, kidney beans. You're going to need Italian seasoning, minced garlic, olive oil, low sodium chicken broth. If you're gluten intolerant like I am, I get this specific one, is probably the only chicken broth I know of that doesn't have any gluten in it. And then sea salt, pepper, and then I think this is called mirepoix. I'm not sure, but it's basically just carrots, onions, and celery pre-chopped. Again, makes this recipe so much faster and easier to make. Way less prep time if you have it pre-chopped. You're also going to need 4 cups of water and a fork and a soup spoon, spatula, whatever, and a large pot to cook all of this in. So I have the fire going at like medium high, closer to medium, and then I am going to just eyeball a little bit of olive oil. That's about good. So I would say maybe like half a tablespoon or a tablespoon of olive oil. And I'm gonna let that heat up for a little bit. I move the oil around a little bit so that it kind of evens the bottom of the pan. Okay, so while editing, I realized that the sizzle of the pan was a bit too loud, so I'm going to do the rest of this video in a voiceover. So all I did here was add the mirepoix or mirepoix, I'm not exactly sure how to say it, but all I did was add that to the pan, and then I'm just going to wait for the onions to become translucent. And as you can see here, they have become more translucent. And then next I'm going to add some garlic. I add a lot of garlic because we really love garlic. So I add a little bit, maybe like a tablespoon. Yeah, probably about a tablespoon, maybe half a tablespoon. And I let that cook just so that all the yummy goodness of garlic comes out with the heat, and I mix it all together. Next I move the mirepoix all the way over to one side. That way the bottom of the pan is exposed, and then I add the turkey onto that little section because I want to brown the turkey just a little bit. Then I go ahead and I take that spatula or spoon or whatever it's called, and I start breaking apart the turkey and mixing it all together with the mirepoix. Once I have all the ground turkey and the mirepoix mixed together, I'm just going to wait for the turkey to be fully cooked before I start adding anything else. I wanted to also mention that I do not have any salt or pepper or any sort of seasoning added at this point. Now that the turkey is fully cooked, I'm going to add in half the bag of kale, and I'm going to drizzle some olive oil on top of the kale. Careful not to add too much olive oil because we are going to be doing this one more time. Next, I'm going to put the lid on the pot. That way the kale has a little help with the humidity and all that stuff so that the kale will wilt down, make a little more room so that I can add the additional kale to this. The kale has partially wilted, and I also mix it in with the mirepoix and the ground turkey and all that. That way it kind of helps with all the wilting process and kind of pushes down the kale. And then I just repeat the kale and olive oil steps again. Once the kale has wilted, I then stir it a bit. It kind of just helps with making it wilt even more. And then I add the entire box of the low sodium chicken broth into the mix. If you are vegan or vegetarian, this is where you would add vegetable broth instead. Next I add the kidney beans, which I have already drained of like all the weird juices from. Then garbanzo beans, or also called chickpeas, also drained. Then 2 to 4 cups of water. On this day specifically I wanted 2 cups, but if you want your soup to be really brothy, then I would say add 4 cups. Then add in the diced tomatoes. Do not drain your diced tomatoes, you want those juices from the diced tomatoes. Now it's time for spices, and this is seriously so easy. It's just 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and then salt and pepper to taste. I like this soup to be pretty peppery, so I use the coarse ground black pepper because I feel like the fine ground pepper is a little too powdery. I don't know, it kind of has a weird taste, but I just generously put this pepper all over the top of the soup. And then I add sea salt, and I am a believer that you can add more salt later because you definitely can never remove salt. So I put it over the top quite a bit, like I go over 3 times or whatever, using the little sifter end of the salt, and then I kind of check it in a little bit. Next I just mix it all up. And I think if you're vegan or vegetarian and you opt obviously to not use the ground turkey, I would say add like zucchini and or squash. I think that would make this really nice and hearty for you as well. So I've got it all mixed, and now I'm just going to turn up the heat a little bit, and then I'm going to put the lid on it, and I'm going to let it boil, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to let it simmer. Give this some time to do its thing, and we'll be right back. Once it has simmered for 20 minutes, then obviously remove the lid and then turn down the heat a little bit more and then give it a good taste and see if it needs any more salt or pepper. And then you are going to let it simmer for another 10 minutes if you've added anything. If not, then it's good to go, and just let it cool down before you eat some of it. That completes this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I hope you enjoy creating this soup. Let me know if you decide to do the vegan or vegetarian option, or if you decide to do this option, the turkey kale soup. Let me know if you like it, and if you like videos like this, please let me know down in the comment section because I would love to know if I should do more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and remember to ding that bell, that way you are notified for future videos. Bye guys!